What's on, guys? Just here back to my channel. Tonight we'll be doing a review for WWE Monday Night Raw and stuff, and I'm just gonna get to it. Then we have a segment on, and it's Jay Uso and Jimmy Uso kick off this week's show. Let me X this stupid thing out of the way first. Okay, um, out How he comes to kick off this week's show. He sells in the ring, he gets on the mic and says he knows his brothers are in the building. He says he knows how the bloodline rolls. It calls Jimmy Uso out to come face him in the ring. Jimmy Uso comes through the crowd with Solo Sikoa. Jay and Jimmy stare each other down. Jay says he misses his brother. Jimmy says Jay is the one who left the bloodline and went and became tag team champions with someone else, not him. Jimmy says Jay's biggest career moment is because of him. Jay says no, the biggest moment of his career will be at WrestleMania 40 when he knocks the yeet out Jimmy's ass. He decks Jimmy, but then Solo Sikoa hit the ring and attacks Jimmy. Uh, Jay, Jimmy and Solo go for a double team tag, but Cody Rhodes runs out to make the save. All right, we have a backstage thing. Backstage, we see Adam Pearce on the phone yelling at someone, presumably Nick Aldis. When Paul Heyman walks up, he says he owes Pearce an apology. The attack was not authorized by The Rock or by Roman. There have been flights delayed all day. He's not even dressed to be here. He doesn't even have makeup. Jimmy and Solo came on a different plane. Jimmy and Solo are gone out for the night. He has Reigns' word. Heyman is here on official business. He will handle it. Then he will be gone for the night as well. But when he does his business, everyone will be caught off guard, and that's a spoiler. All right, we have a first match, WrestleMania 46 pack challenge qualifying match, DIY versus the Creed brothers. Inside the arena, we head down to the ring for our next match of the evening, which is our first three scheduled WrestleMania 46 pack challenge qualifying matches. Outcomes: the teams of DIY, Johnny Gargano and Tommaso Ciampa, and the Creed brothers, Julius and Brutus Creed. The bell sounds and off we go. Oh shoot, I'm sorry. Champa and Julius kick things off for their respective teams. They get some mat wrestling, then Champa bags him into the ropes and chops him hard. Julius shoots for the legs, picks the ankle, gets in a lock, but Champa gets to the ropes. Kick from Julius. Champa rolls outside. He comes back in, and Julius gets a quick firearms carry takedown. Uh, Tag to Bruce. He arm tag drags Champa and holds on front fade lock and then waist lock. Champa gets a headlock and hits a right hand. Bruce hits one of his own. Lifts up, whips to the ropes. Misses right. Gargano with the tag. Then go back and forth with some moves. Finally dropping Brutus. Then hitting an assistant blockbuster to the incoming Julius. They dive over the top rope to the outside onto the brothers as we go to break. When we return, we see some more back and forth action, leading to another big high spot on the floor, right from Pat McAfee, who gets all into it at the commentary desk. With his reaction after this, we head to a second mid-match commercial break as the action continues. When we return from the break, from the second break, we see Gargano get the hot tag and fire up on offense. He hits a series of face-paced offensive spots and tags in Champa again. Champa hits White Noise off the middle rope for a close pinfall attempt. Excuse me. We see wild double team power spots from the Creed brothers, but DIY continues to hang in there. Champa gets the roll up for the win to qualify. So the winners are and qualifying for WrestleMania 40 six-pack challenge DIY. Alright, I have a little backstage segment a little bit here. Alright, backstage we check in the Judgment Day. We see Andrade talking to them. They say they hear he has a match next week and tell him they'll be watching to see if he can impress them, to earn his way into their exclusive club. They take shots at JD McDonough for losing to Ricochet last week. Dominic Mysterio is gonna make it right this week. We head to another break. All right, next match is Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell versus Katana Chance and Kaden Carter. Uh, when we return from the break, we see Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell and the team of Kaden Carter and Katana Chance in the ring. We see highlights of LeRae's actions humiliating Maxine Dupree last week. Back live, the bell sounds and we go over with this one. Kicking things off for the respective teams are Carter and LeRae. LeRae takes the early offensive lead and is still showing a more aggressive side to herself. Harwell and Chance tag in, and Chance helps take over for the former NXT WWE Women's Champs. Women's Tag Champs, I'm sorry. Uh, Chance sees to injure herself, so Hartwell backs off, and the ref checks on her. LeRae tags in and goes right to work on Chance's leg and slaps a leg submission on in ruthless fashion. She gets the win and mocks the injured Chance. Hartwell doesn't seem to like the new LeRae. So the winners are Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. All right. We have a segment coming on, which is Cody Rhodes. We see recap the Raw concert from last week's WWE SmackDown. We then see Cody Rhodes walking backstage. We head to another commercial break. We return from the break to a trailer for the new Bray Wyatt documentary premiering on Peacock on Monday, April 1st, 2024. I'm definitely gonna watch that that documentary of Bray Wyatt. I know I'm gonna cry. Back live inside the PNC Bank Arena, we hear the familiar sounds of Cody Rhodes' theme song. Out comes and making over to a big pop for our next segment of the evening. He sells in the ring to chants of Cody, Cody, Cody. We see a ton of yellow hashtag We Want Cody signs that appear to have been handed out. Cody begins by talking about how we're only 3 weeks away from him standing across the ring from Roman Reigns for the WWE Universal Championship at WrestleMania 40. He says they'll go face to face this Friday on SmackDown, but there are some other elements, namely The Rock. And yes, Cody had a lot of things to say. The Rock was cool. He talks about The Rock took to Instagram and later to The Rock concert last week. But too bad he didn't want to be here tonight. He says The Rock referred to himself as our favorite heel. Cody says we all know what that means. He's a bad guy. He names some legendary heels over the years. He says The Rock isn't a heel. He's an asshole. He's an asshole. That was funny. Rhodes brings up Rob mocking him for shredding a tear last week. He says, "Isn't that ironic? Because hasn't that been what The Rock is doing behind the scenes for weeks, crying about the We Want Cody chants and social media movement?" He says he's surrounded by yes men. He calls Rocky a whiny bitch. Yep, calls him a whiny. He calls The Rock a whiny bitch. He says Rock brought up his mom, so it's fair game to bring up families and promos. He says, "I know your mom." Yeah, he sure does. He talks about having respect for his mom, something he should echo to his own. He says he spoke about his mom being afraid of him, bringing a bloody belt to her. He says his mom isn't afraid of him or anyone else. He accuses Rock of LDS, little dick syndrome. Yeah, little dick syndrome. I was laughing. He then brings up Brian Gurch or something, giving him the final boss nickname. And says he's really just Roman Reigns' side bitch. When you watch it live, he says side chick, but whatever. He calls Roman Reigns side bitch. Paul Heyman then comes out and heads to confront Cody Rhodes. He says it's lame when someone demands an apology. He then apologizes for his actions. The last time he saw Cody stops Heyman before he gets in the ring. He says he didn't ask for an apology. Heyman says he carries with him a message from the tribal chief Roman Reigns. He says when he goes face to face with Roman Reigns on SmackDown on Friday, no one but Heyman will be with him. Cody says deal, and then shrugs as if to ask, "What's the point?" He then outright asks him, "What's the point?" Heyman says, "If Roman Reigns shows up alone, this Friday on SmackDown. And then Cody Rhodes, he showed up to SmackDown alone too. Cody gets in Heyman's face and says, "Deal." He then shakes his hand to end the segment. Alright, next match is Ricochet versus Dominic Mysterio. Backstage, we see Nia Jax talking directly into the camera. She says Becky Lynch has never defeated her, and after tonight, that she will be the case. She says after she breaks Becky's face again, she'll take her spot against Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 40 and become the WWE Women's World Champion. Back inside the arena, Ricochet's theme hits as he heads to the ring. We see the match graphic for this bout, which will see Ricochet going one-on-one against Dominic Mysterio of the Judgment Day as he sells in the ring. We head to a quick pre-match commercial break. We return from the break and see Jay Uso warning Cody Rhodes backstage about promising to go to SmackDown alone. He says Roman Reigns won't be alone. He says he's got his back if he needs it. Back in the arena, we see slow motion featuring a Pat McAfee nearly blowing his ACL out doing the yeet wave earlier with Jey Uso. Don Dom's in the ring and the bell sounds to get this started. Ricochet jumps off to an early offensive lead. He hits a big corkscrew plancha to Dom on the floor. Dom gets a cheap shot behind the ref's back moments later. It takes over as we head to a mid-match commercial break. When we return, despite interference from J.D. McDonough, Ricochet gets the win. So the winner is Ricochet. Alright, WrestleMania 40 contract signing for Gunther versus Sami Zayn. We should backstage. We see an intense interaction between Sami Zayn and Chad Gable. Gable claims he's okay, but Zayn can sense otherwise. When Zayn keeps pushing, Gable snaps and says it meant more for him. Zayn takes exception to that. Gable finally yells that it's because Zayn can't beat Gunther. He walks off as Zayn looks stunned. We head to another break. When we return, the ring is set up for the WrestleMania 40 contract signing for WWE Intercontinental Championship. Raw General Manager introduces first the challenger. Sami Zayn out. He comes to a big pile. The reigning champion Gunther is out next to some heat. He takes exception with Zayn not dressing up for this. Zayn says Gunther doesn't think he has a chance. Sami talks about how he's proven people wrong his whole career. He says no one thought the Usos longest title reign at last year's WrestleMania, but he did, and this year he's gonna end the longest IC title reign of all time when he beats Gunther. Gunther and each signed the contract. Alright, next match is WrestleMania 46 Pack Challenge qualifying match. Awesome Truth versus Indus Sheer. We follow Sammy all the way backstage as he walk off with the contract signing, vowing to take Gunther down at WrestleMania 40. He walks past Regeneration X, who talks about DIY qualifying. Other Awesome Truth sees Indus Sheer walking by, and Truth says he feels sorry for who has to fight them. Miz tells DIY I'll tell him. The two walk out to make their way down to the ring for our pack challenge. Qualifier R2 wraps his way down to the ring with the Miz. They do the what's up call and response routine with the crowd as we head to a pre-match commercial break. When we return from the break, Indus Sheer make their way out, and the bell sounds to get this one started. Indus Sheer dominant with power spots early on as Jinder Mahal cheers them on at ringside. Truth fires up and hits John Cena's big comeback spots. He ends up running into a big elbow, but falls right onto his laid out a position for the win. So to qualify, winners and then qualifying for WrestleMania 46 Match Challenge. Awesome Truth. All right, we have another segment coming out with Drew McIntyre and Seth Freaking Rollins in the ring. We see Drew McIntyre walking the hallway backstage as he will speak when we return. On that note, we sell into commercial break. When we return, we see Chad Gable and Sami Zayn cross paths again. Again, we see Gable explain to Zayn how Gunther is different beast. Alright, Michael is announced as guest host of the Pat McAfee show held at W Roll during WrestleMania 40 weekend, featuring Paul Triple H Levesque. We see promotion for CM Punk on next week's Raw at Allstate Arena in his hometown of Chicago. A quick video also airs where he comes. Phil will be at WrestleMania in Philadelphia. Back live, the theme for Drew McIntyre hits, and out comes Scotch Warrior wearing a Savior of WrestleMania t-shirt. Before he even make it all the way to the ring, his music cuts off, and we hear "Burn It Down" as Seth Freaky Rollins' theme hits. The WWE World Heavyweight Champion emerges and heads out behind him, walking right past him like he's not even there. Further proof that McIntyre is the last thing Rollins is worried about heading into WrestleMania 40. Rollins sells in the ring, and then an annoyed McIntyre makes his way and after him. Rollins says he came to admit to Drew's face one thing he said was true. He says he is a spotlight junkie. Drew's response taking a quick jab at CM Punk and then vowing to take the title from Rollins. McIntyre cuts off fans chanting CM Punk, and says CM Punk will be here next week because he never get off the couch to come to place like Briley and NC. Rollins vows to make The Rock and Roman Reigns his bitches on night one of WrestleMania. He says at night two it'll be them fighting for the richest prize in the business. Ron says Drew is a spotlight junkie just like him. He says for the past 4 months, all we hear from Drew for the past 4 years is that his big title winning moment was in front of no one. He says when the lights got bright again, he fumbled the ball. Seth says he is the best, and when the lights are shining, they're brightest. He vows to show Drew he's not as good as he think he is. All right, backstage a little bit real quick. Becky Lynch sends a message to Nia Jax. We shoot a message from Becky Lynch backstage, who talks about how she's risking her big WrestleMania title shot by putting it all on the line in a last women's day match against someone she's never been to back in the arena. The New Day theme hits as we head to another commercial break. All right, WrestleMania 40 six-pack challenge qualifying match: The New Day versus Alpha Academy. Excuse me, sorry guys. When we return from the break, The Rock is announced for the WrestleMania 40 Go Home episode of WWE Monday Raw on April 1st as the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, NY. Back live inside the PNC Bank Arena, we see the New Day duo of Kobe Kingston and Xavier Woods have settled into the ring. The theme for their opponents hits, and out comes the Alpha Academy duo of Akira Tozawa and Otis. The bell sounds. We're officially off running with this one with our third and final qualifier for the WrestleMania 40 six-pack challenge for the undisputed WWE World Tag Team Championships. Otis hits some of his trademark comedy spots early on to jump into the early offensive lead as the Alpha Academy duo continues to control the action. We shift gears and head into a mid-match commercial break as the high stakes continue. Tag team tilt continues when we return. The New Day end up pulling off the win to qualify alongside DIY and Awesome Truth. Winners in qualifying for WrestleMania 40 six-pack challenge. The New Day. Alright, main event time. Last women's standing match. Becky Lynch versus Nia Jax. Main event time. We see backstage. We see Becky Lynch gearing up for her last woman standing main event showdown against Nia Jax. When Liv Morgan approaches her, the two have a quick word, and we shift gears and head to another commercial break. Backstage, we see Cody Rhodes walking his dog Perot when he is approached by Seth Freaky Rollins, who asks if he's really up for a one-on-one face-to-face showdown with Roman Reigns on SmackDown. He says he is. Alright. It is announced that Ricochet will be going one-on-one against JD McDonough on next week's Raw and Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. Also, schedule an appearance by the second City Saint himself, CM Punk. Back inside the PNC Bank Arena, we hear the familiar sounds of Becky Lynch's theme song. Out comes the man for our last woman standing main event of the evening. She sells in the ring and her music dies out. Nia Jax's theme hits and out she comes. The bell sounds, off and we go. Nia Jax beats down Lynch coming out of the gate. She decks her on the floor. As the fight spills out to the ringside, she knocks Lynch down, and the referee begins his count. Lynch beats the count, and Jax exchange shots on the floor as we head to a mid-match break. When we return from the break, we see the intensity picking up the ring with kendo sticks and a ton of chairs starting to get used. We see a giant pile of sleepy guys. Power chairs set up, and Lynch goes for the man slam on Jax on them, but Jax avoids it and takes back over. Jax pulls a chair over Lynch and sits on it to taunt her, and fans Lynch tries fighting back with a Kindle stick. But Jax takes over again on the floor. She beats her with half of the ring steps. She goes for a leg drop on the hard part of the ring apron, but Lynch moves and Jax crashes and burns on the floor again. Uh, Lynch slams Jax into the ring steps. The ref begins his count, but Lynch stops it by smashing Jax face first into the steel steps. Again, the ref begins his count again as Lynch pulls a table out from the ring. We head to another mid-match break. On that note, when we return from the break, we see Jax dominating the action on the floor when Lynch pulls out a fire extinguisher and sprays her like crazy for a big pop back inside the ring. Jax ends up putting Lynch through a table in the corner with the Samoan drop. Lynch beats the count. The two end up at ringside, where this time it is Lynch who puts Jax through a table using her manhandle slam. Jax just barely beats the count. Lynch climbs up a ladder and pushes Jax through the commentary desk with a huge light drop off of it. The ref begins with his count on both of them. Lynch beats the count. Jax doesn't, as Lynch celebrates her hard and hard fought victory. Her music dies out. Rhea Ripley's theme hits, and out comes the WWE Women's World Champion to the ring. She stares down at she stares Lynch down as commentaries promote their match at WrestleMania 40, and so the show went off. Blah blah. Okay, that was a good match and stuff. So yeah, that's how it ended. So it was good and stuff, and it was alright. But man, Cody had a lot of things to say to Rock and stuff. But yeah, it is what it is and stuff. So excuse me, sorry, I keep yawning every time I read sometimes, But yeah, anyways, it was all good, all right, show, all that. But anyways, that was it for this video. Subscribe if you're gonna hit that ring button or whatever. If you don't, I don't care. But anyways, if you like the video or not, whatever, I don't care either. But anyways, that was it for this video, and I'll see y'all next time in next video. Layers.